Solve for w. 6 over w equals -9. So this is a proportion, and there is more than one way to solve it, but anytime you have one fraction equaling another, 6 over w equaling -9 over 1, we can cross multiply to solve. So it doesn't make a difference which order you do this in. So -9 times w is -9w, and 6 times 1 is 6. Now we divide both sides by the coefficient -9, so that gives us w equals -6/9. And then we can reduce because 3 goes into both 6 and 9, and that would give us -2/3 as our answer. The next one is also a proportion, and we're going to put the u minus 4 in parentheses. So now we can rewrite this as -7 over u minus 4 equals 8 over 1. And again, we're going to cross multiply because we have one fraction equaling another. So that gives us 8 times u minus 4 equals -7 times 1, which is -7. Now we're going to go ahead and use the distributive property here. And this gives us 8u minus 32 equals -7. And then isolating our variable, we're going to add 32 to both sides. And this gives us 8u equaling +25. And then dividing by the coefficient 8, we get u equals 25 over 8. This cannot reduce, so this would be our final answer. The next problem is an equation that has fractions. So one method to solve is to eliminate the fractions. So in this case, the LCD is 3x. So remember, we can multiply each term by the LCD to clear our fractions. So we're going to multiply each one of these terms by 3x. So the first, we're multiplying 3x times 3, nothing to reduce, so that gives us 9x. For the second one, x goes into x one time, so that just leaves us 3 times +5, which is +15. And for the last, 3 goes into 3 one time, and that leaves us 4 times x, which is 4x. Now we're going to isolate our variable. Since it's already isolated on the right-hand side, we're going to move the 9x from the left-hand side to the right-hand side by taking its opposite. And remember, we divide by the coefficient, which is -5. So 15 divided by -5 is -3. So x would equal -3. Let's look at our next problem. Again, we have fractions in an equation. So we have 5x over x plus 7, and I'm going to put x plus 7 in parentheses, equaling 7x over x plus 7 plus 5. So our LCD in this problem is x plus 7. So we're going to multiply each term by x plus 7. So for the first one, the x plus 7 goes into the x plus 7 one time, so that leaves us 5x times 1, which is 5x, equals, and again for the next, the x plus 7 is reduced to 1, and 7x times 1 is 7x. and nothing to reduce with the 5, so we're going to distribute the positive 5 times each term, giving us positive 5x plus 35. Now before we move anything, we're going to collect like terms. So 7x plus 5x gives us 12x. Now, since our variable is already isolated on the left-hand side, we're going to move the 12x on the left-hand side by taking its opposite. So this would give us negative 7x equaling 35. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 7. So 35 divided by negative 7 is negative 5. Our next problem, we have 7 over y squared plus 7y plus 12 equaling 1 over y plus 4. So notice I'm putting them all in parentheses, minus 5 over y plus 3. So the first thing we want to do is factor if possible. And y squared plus 7y plus 12, we can use our shortcut in factoring, factors to y plus 3 times y plus 4. So in finding our LCD will be y plus 3 times y plus 4. So remember, we're going to multiply each term by y plus 3 times y plus 4. And notice I'm writing that in the numerator. So we're going to reduce. So for the first one, y plus 3 goes into y plus 3 one time, as does y plus 4. So that leaves us 7 times 1, which is 7, equals. For the second, y plus 4 goes into y plus 4 one time, leaving us 1 times y plus 3 times 1, which is y plus 3. And last, y plus 3 goes into y plus 3 one time, leaving us negative 5. Make sure you take that sign with you, times y plus 4. So using the distributive property, we multiply negative 5 times each term, and that gives us negative 5y minus 20. So before we move anything, we're going to collect like terms. So here we have 1y minus 5y, which is negative 4y, and positive 3 minus 20, which is negative 17. So since y is already isolated on the right-hand side, I'm going to move the 17 onto the left-hand side by taking its opposite. So that gives us 24 equals negative 4y, and we're going to divide both sides by a negative 4. So 24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. In our next problem, we're dealing with more than one variable, and we're asked to solve, in this case, for m. So we have 8 equals f over m. So remember, we can express 8 as a fraction, and so now we have a proportion. And remember, in solving a proportion, one method to solve is through cross multiplying. And again, it doesn't make a difference which one comes first. So I can multiply 8 times m, and that gives me 8m equals 1 times f, which gives me f. So in this case, since we're solving for m, I need to divide both sides by the coefficient, which is 8. And our answer would be m equals f over 8. So in the next problem, again, we're asked to solve a proportion. So we have one fraction equaling another. So to solve, we can cross multiply. And 7 times u is 7u. And then we're going to multiply the 13 times the 9, and that gives us 117. Now, just as we normally would do, we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, and u would equal 117 over 7. So the directions say round your answer to the nearest tenth, which means it wants us to change this fraction to a decimal. So on your calculator, you divide 117 by 7, and this would give you 16.714. So I go at least 2 places past because we're rounding to the tenths place. So I look at the hundredths place. Since this is less than 5, I just drop the last 2 decimals, and u would be approximately 16.7. And again, that's rounded to the nearest tenth. And our last problem, here again I have a proportion, and since this is a binomial, I'm going to put this in parentheses. So I have x plus 3 over 6 equaling 5 over 4. So we're going to cross multiply again to solve. So we have 4 times x plus 3 equals 5 times 6, which is 30. So we're going to use the distributive property, multiply 4 times x, which gives us 4x, 4 times positive 3, which gives us positive 12, equaling 30. So we need to isolate, so we're going to move 12 from the left-hand side to the right-hand side by taking its opposite. So this gives us 4x equaling 18. And then we're going to divide both sides by 4, which is the coefficient. So this gives us x equaling 18 over 4. Since 2 goes into both 18 and 4, we divide 2 out, and that gives us 9/2 as our answer.